Every single day, life places before us two doors. One leads to growth, the other leads to stagnation. One opens to possibilities, the other locks us inside the walls we've built with our doubts and excuses. The truth is, no matter what your past has been, no matter how much pain you've experienced, no matter how unfair life may seem, you still hold the ultimate authority over one thing: what you choose to do right now. Most people think circumstances define them. They say, if I had more money, if I had more time, if I had more support, then I would try. But the reality is, those words are nothing more than chains. They keep you bound in a prison of hesitation. What separates those who win from those who fade into the background isn't luck, talent, or even opportunity. It's the decision to step forward despite the obstacles. Choice is the invisible lever that moves mountains. Think of the people who started with nothing. Broken families, empty pockets, no roadmap to success. What made them legends wasn't that someone handed them a golden opportunity. It was that they made a decision to try when others chose to quit. They acted when fear screamed at them to stand still. And once they moved, doors they never imagined began to open. You see, action creates clarity. Waiting creates confusion. When you choose to try, you generate momentum. That momentum produces energy, and that energy builds belief. Suddenly, what felt impossible yesterday becomes achievable today. But when you choose excuses, you reinforce your limitations. You confirm the story that you're not ready, not worthy, not capable. That story becomes your identity, and your identity shapes your destiny. The most powerful realization anyone can have is this: you don't need permission to begin. You don't need the perfect plan. You don't need every question answered. You simply need to say yes to the moment and take that first step. That choice, to move, to act, to try, is the spark that ignites everything else. And understand this: every excuse has the same root: fear. Fear of failure, fear of rejection, fear of looking foolish. But what's worse than failure? Regret. What's heavier than rejection? The weight of wondering, what if I had just tried? Failure hurts for a moment. Regret hurts for a lifetime. So, when life puts that decision in front of you, ask yourself, am I going to step up, or am I going to sit down? Am I going to lean into possibility, or am I going to hide behind an excuse? Because at the end of the day, your future doesn't change because you hoped for it. It changes because you made a choice. And that choice begins with trying, again, again, and again, until the effort carves out the life you were meant to live. Fear is the invisible wall that stops most people from ever tasting the life they dream of. It whispers in your ear, what if you fail? What if they laugh? What if you're not good enough? And the more you listen, the stronger that wall becomes. But here's the truth: fear doesn't go away on its own. You can't negotiate with it. You can't wait it out, and you can't wish it away. The only thing that dissolves fear is action. Think about it. Every single breakthrough in history was born in the face of fear. Every invention, every movement, every revolution, every personal victory. Someone was terrified, but they acted anyway. The people we admire most weren't fearless. They simply refused to let fear dictate their choices. They understood a powerful secret: fear grows in silence, but it shrinks when you move. Action is the antidote. The moment you step forward, fear loses its grip. You might stumble, you might fall, but you've already won because you've taken back control. You're no longer a prisoner of what if. Instead, you're standing in the arena, blood pumping, heart racing, proving to yourself that you're capable of more than you imagined. Here's the problem: most people wait until they feel ready. They think courage comes first and then action follows. But that's not how it works. Action creates courage. Action breeds confidence. It's the act of moving, speaking up, taking the leap that forges the strength you're searching for. Imagine standing on the edge of a cliff, scared to jump into the water below. Your heart pounds, your legs shake, your mind screams, "Don't do it." But the second you leap, everything changes. The fear vanishes midair, replaced by exhilaration. Why? Because fear only lives in hesitation. Once you move, it has nowhere left to hide, and this isn't just about dramatic leaps. It's about everyday life, making that phone call you've been avoiding, taking the first step toward a healthier body, launching the business you've been dreaming of, asking for the opportunity you know you deserve. Each time you act in the face of fear, you rewrite the script in your mind. You begin to condition yourself to see fear not as a stop sign, but as a green light, a signal that you're heading toward growth. Here's the truth: everyone feels fear. The difference between those who rise and those who remain stuck is simple. Some wait for fear to disappear, and it never does. Others move in spite of it, and it fades with every step they take. So, the question is, when fear shows up, and it will, what are you going to do? Stand frozen, letting it rob you of your potential? Or act boldly, proving to yourself and the world that nothing, not even fear, can hold you back when you decide to move? One of the greatest lies people tell themselves is that they need everything to be perfect before they start. They wait for the perfect timing, the perfect plan, the perfect resources, the perfect confidence. But here's the reality: perfection is an illusion. It's a moving target that no one ever hits. And while you're waiting for perfect, someone else is out there making progress, building momentum and creating results. Think about it. Every master was once a beginner. Every expert stumbled through their first attempt. Every success story started messy, uncertain, and incomplete. What made the difference wasn't flawless execution, it was forward motion. They didn't wait for all the lights to turn green before they drove. They pressed the gas and adjusted along the way. Progress is where growth happens. Every step, no matter how small, creates learning. Every attempt, no matter how clumsy, teaches you something that standing still never will. Waiting for perfect guarantees you'll remain stuck, while moving forward, even imperfect, guarantees you'll evolve. The truth is, perfection is often just fear in disguise. It's fear saying, don't try until you're certain you won't fail. But certainty never comes. Failure is part of the process. Mistakes are the tuition you pay for growth. Every wrong turn, every misstep, every so-called failure is a stepping stone to mastery. The people who seem to have it all figured out didn't avoid mistakes. They outlasted them. Here's the beauty of choosing progress: momentum compounds. When you take action, even small action, it builds energy. That energy fuels confidence. That confidence drives more action. Soon, you're no longer thinking about being perfect. You're living in motion, creating breakthroughs you couldn't have imagined when you were frozen at the starting line. Think of a sculptor staring at a block of marble. If they waited until they had the perfect vision, the perfect tools, the perfect technique, they'd never strike the first blow. But by chipping away, piece by piece, the masterpiece begins to emerge. Life works the same way. Your progress shapes your future, one imperfect strike at a time. And let's be clear, people don't respect perfection, they respect persistence. They're not inspired by someone who never failed. They're inspired by someone who refused to quit. Your courage to keep moving, even when it's messy, gives others permission to do the same. So stop asking, what if it's not good enough? Start asking, what will I learn by doing this? Stop waiting for certainty. Start building clarity through action, because clarity doesn't come before progress. It comes because of progress. At the end of your life, you won't remember the perfect moments. You'll remember the battles you fought, the lessons you learned, and the mountains you climbed, step by step, with sweat on your brow and fire in your heart. Every single person carries scars, some visible, some hidden deep inside. Pain is the universal language of humanity. It comes in the form of rejection, failure, heartbreak, loss, betrayal, or disappointment. And while most people run from it, bury it, or let it break them, there is another choice: to take that pain and transform it into power. Pain by itself can paralyze you. It can make you doubt yourself, question your worth, and convince you to settle for less than you deserve. But pain is also energy. It's raw, untamed fuel that, when directed with purpose, can push you further than comfort ever could. Some of the strongest, most successful, most unstoppable people you've ever heard of are not great because they avoided pain. They are great because they harnessed it. Think about it. The athlete who trains harder than anyone else often carries the sting of being underestimated. The entrepreneur who builds an empire often started with empty pockets and empty hands. The leader who inspires millions often comes from a story filled with rejection and loss. Pain was their teacher. Pain sharpened them. Pain forced them to find strength they didn't know existed. When life knocks you down, you have two choices: stay down and let the pain crush you, or rise and let the pain fuel you. The first choice leaves you powerless, replaying the story of "why me?" over and over. The second choice makes you unstoppable, rewriting that story into "watch me." The very thing that was meant to destroy you becomes the fire that propels you. The truth is, comfort never builds champions. Ease never forges resilience. Struggle, hardship, and pain are the crucibles where greatness is born. Diamonds aren't created in calm. They're created under pressure. Steel isn't strong until it's been through the fire, and human beings don't discover their true strength until they've endured the storms. Here's the key: you don't have to like the pain, but you do have to decide what it means. You can give it the meaning of defeat, or you can give it the meaning of drive. The meaning you attach to your pain will either chain you or catapult you. Look back at your life. Think about the hardest moments you've faced, the ones that nearly broke you. Aren't those the same moments that shaped who you are today? Aren't those the moments that gave you wisdom, perspective, and resilience? The same way, the pain you're carrying right now can either be your excuse or your weapon. So the next time pain shows up, and it will, don't just ask, "Why is this happening to me?" Ask, "How can I use this?" Because when you decide to transform pain into fuel, you stop being a victim of your circumstances and start becoming the architect of your destiny. There comes a moment in every person's life when they realize that no one is coming to rescue them. Not the government, not their parents, not their boss, not their friends. If you want a different future, it's on you. And that realization can feel heavy, but it's also liberating, because the day you take full control of your life is the day everything changes. Most people live pointing fingers outward. They blame their circumstances, their upbringing, the economy, the system, or even fate. But blaming doesn't solve anything. It keeps you stuck. As long as you hand your power over to excuses, you remain at the mercy of forces outside your control. The truth is brutal but freeing. Your life is the result of your decisions, your habits, your actions, and your choices. Taking full responsibility doesn't mean life will always be fair. It doesn't mean everything is your fault. What it does mean is that no matter what happens, you own how you respond. You own whether you let setbacks define you or refine you. You own whether challenges crush your spirit or sharpen your will. When you take control of your response, you take control of your future. Think about the people who inspire you the most. They're not the ones who had it easy. They're the ones who faced obstacles and said, "This stops with me." They decided that no matter what hand they were dealt, they would play it with everything they had. That decision, to take ownership instead of making excuses, separates the extraordinary from the ordinary. And here's the beautiful part. When you take ownership, you gain freedom. Because if your problems are someone else's fault, then only they can fix them. But if you own them, you also own the solution. You stop waiting for life to change, and you start creating change. That shift is the difference between drifting through life and driving your life. This doesn't just apply to big things. It applies to the little ones too. Your health, your relationships, your finances, your growth. Every area of life demands accountability. If you want stronger connections, show up with more honesty. If you want better health, put the work into your body. If you want financial freedom, Discipline your spending and elevate your skills. Waiting, blaming, or wishing won't get you there. Taking action will. The people who rise in this world are the ones who stop saying, "Why is this happening to me?" and start saying, "What can I do about it?" That single shift in mindset is the foundation of all achievement. It moves you from being a passenger in your own life to becoming the driver. At the end of the day, you either run your life or your life runs you. The choice is always in your hands, and the moment you decide to own it all, the good, the bad, the wins, the losses, is the moment you unlock the power to shape everything that comes next. When people talk about legacy, they often think of money, titles, or fame. But none of that truly lasts. Bank accounts get drained, buildings crumble, and names fade. What endures is the story of how you lived, the example you set, and the effort you poured into the moments that mattered. Long after the applause dies and the spotlight moves on, what remains is the impact of your persistence, your grit, your refusal to give up when it would have been easier to quit. Think about the figures you admire most. They're remembered not because everything came easy to them, but because they kept showing up. They pushed through storms. They rose after failures. They gave their energy even when the odds were stacked against them. Their effort became a torch that lit the way for others, and that is what real legacy is, not perfection but perseverance. Every day you're building your own. Every choice you make, every challenge you face, every obstacle you overcome, it's all carving the story people will tell about you. Will they say they had potential but they never tried? Or will they say they may not have had it all, but they never stopped giving their all? Here's the truth: effort echoes. It doesn't just impact you, it ripples out to everyone around you. Your children, your friends, your colleagues, they're all watching. They learn more from how you fight than from what you say. Your determination becomes their permission to aim higher. Your persistence becomes their blueprint for resilience. And effort doesn't require grand gestures. It's not about winning Olympic gold or building billion-dollar companies, unless that's your path. It's about showing up when it's hard. It's about putting in one more rep, making one more call, taking one more step, even when you're tired. It's about living in such a way that people know you gave everything you had. The beauty of this truth is that legacy is available to everyone. You don't need to be the smartest, the richest, or the most connected. You just need to be relentless. You just need to commit to trying again and again, even when the outcome isn't guaranteed. Because people may forget your words, but they will never forget your example. One day, when your story is told, it won't be the excuses that get remembered. Excuses vanish into thin air. It will be the effort, the sweat, the courage, the persistence. That's what stays, and the most powerful part. That effort will outlive you. It will inspire people you'll never meet, in places you'll never go, long after you're gone. So every time you face a challenge, remind yourself, you're not just working for today. You're chiseling the legacy you'll leave tomorrow. And when all is said and done, the question will never be, did you win every battle? It will be, did you give everything you had?